Hello and welcome to the Spiritual Solopreneur podcast. If this content resonates, please like and subscribe. My guest today is Danielle Arsenault, founder of Pachavega School of Holistic Wellness, a plant-based culinary educator and transformational facilitator. With over 2 decades of experience supporting students and communities around the world, Danielle helps people transform their health and lifestyle through guided certifications, immersive retreats, and holistic wellness programs rooted in plant-based nutrition and sustainable daily practices. She's also the visionary behind La Vida Bonita. I love that name. Just just trips off the tongue. A tropical vegan retreat center on Ometepe Island, created to help people reconnect with themselves, restore balance, and live in deeper alignment with who they are. Welcome, Danielle. Can we hear you? Okay.
Yes. Oh, there we go. There we are. Hello.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Awesomeness.
much. Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for being
Mm.
here. I absolutely love the name of your retreat, and it's so simple. The Good Life, I
Yeah.
assume. La Vida
Yeah.
Bonita. Just
The
sound,
pretty life, the good life, the sweet
yeah,
life. Hmm.
yeah, the sweet life, which includes living in better alignment with oneself.
Yeah.
And isn't that what we're all trying to do in one way or another these days, is feel comfortable in our own skin,
Mm.
particularly, I think, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, constantly kind of fighting with imposter syndrome and everything else, and just wanting to restore that balance that you're talking about. And I want to, ask you how you got into doing all this kind of stuff, but for the moment, how does food how can food do those things? How can food help me restore balance and live more like myself, be more comfortable in my own skin?
Wow. That's like a really deep question at the same time. Yeah, but it could also be extremely simple. And I think there's a key piece in that. It's the actually eating the food, right? Because a lot of times, like we are very intelligent people, we know that this this food is good for us and this food is not good for us. We know that this food is healthy and this food is not healthy. But there's this missing gap between actually eating the food and then feeling how it makes your body feel. And so when we just talk about the food, we don't actually ever understand how it really feels when we consume it and when we're paying attention to the nutrients in abundance. And so it's not about creating a diet because I feel like the word diet already like will give us restriction. Um, but the abundance, the variety, the the depth, the availability to try all of it. And when we do that with plant-based whole foods and we're eating foods that are as close to nature as possible, how they're designed to be eaten in nature. We're not going to be eating things like avocado skins because that's not what's eaten in nature. Um,
That's not the intention of an avocado.
right. But yeah, and then not to really follow the hype of fads or diets that can be restrictive. So I feel like also what have the ancients been telling us all along? And can we find the through line of what everybody's saying all at once? What is everybody saying? Um, what is the through line amongst the cultures? What is the through line that the Indians have been saying, the Chinese have been saying, and mostly everywhere that you look, it's whole foods plant-based. Yes, there are nuances, and there are, going to be certain like these schools of thought. If we're looking at an Ayurvedic perspective or a traditional Chinese medicine perspective or a raw foods, living foods diet, and Wigmore style sprouting, juicing, wheatgrass perspective. But the similarity is what I'm interested in. And I think yeah, it's like we have to eat the food to know really how it feels in the body, to be able to speak about it with confidence. Because I feel there's a lot of people talking, but there's not a lot of people actually eating and then speaking from that lived embodied experience. So there's like a bit of judgment around, let's say, vegan. Let's say the vegan diet, there's some judgment around it. But I find most of the judgment comes from the people that aren't even eating that way. And so, yeah,
Yep.
basically the concept, for me, through my business, I use this word, food is the foundation. Food is the foundation, healing is holistic. And from there, everything expands, using these words. Because when food is the foundation, and it's when food is the foundation and we build this solid foundation and we're standing on that foundation, the ability to be able to reach where we want to go is we're standing on a solid platform, right? Versus standing on some wishy-washy nutritional science, some fad, something when we're actually asking our body, how do we really feel? We're not feeling healthy. We're not feeling in alignment. And we have to be really brutally honest with ourselves about that.
Yeah.
So being extremely brutally honest about ourselves with how we're actually feeling inside the body, and and then making some changes. And so
Right.
I don't know if I answered your question, but I
I
think,
think so.
yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on there is the idea of intentionally feeling the food. So it's sort of, I was reminded of kind of when you exercise. So I do these little Pilates things every day, and the instructor always says, okay, when you're doing these exercises, focus on the core, that where you want this exercise to have an effect, or where it's going to have an effect. You focus on that. And then, if you just kind of go blah, 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 nothing's going to happen with this exercise. So I'm thinking this is kind of a similar thing with the food. You eat the food and intentionally understand what it's doing in your body. Oh, you're frozen. Danielle. I think we lost her for a moment there. Okay, we're going to pause and come right back. Ah, she's back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. That's okay.
Um,
I think we can
you
just
lost,
carry on.
yeah, you
Just,
lost me at the Pilates. You were talking about exercise and
oh,
Pilates.
okay. Yeah. So I was saying,
Yeah.
when I'm doing these exercises, I'm focusing on where in my body I want the exercise to take effect.
Mm.
And that helps. So I'm thinking this is the same thing with the food. You eat the food and you intentionally think about how it makes your body feel. Is that kind of what you were alluding to there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Not really even specific body parts, but just knowing that food isn't just uh how we're eating it. It's not just to be stuffed. It's to be thought of as something more than what, I mean, if we really look at food, it can connect every single culture in the world. It is the most basic human need. It is the most basic human connection piece. Families, cultures. It's the connection point. It's the where we circle around. We circle around food. We gather around food. And so, what is the food? What is it? Is it garbage? Is it poison? Is it health building? Anne Wigmore, she said the food that you eat can either be the slowest form of poison or the most powerful medicine. And so this curiosity that I have of, okay, well, the food that I choose to eat, for me, it's medicine. So when I look at food as the foundation of my medicine, then everything changes. But it doesn't just change thinking about it. You have to actually eat the food. And so, yeah. So I'm all about there's two basically two steps. If you come to learn through me, there's two steps because first you got to learn how to make the food. Just learn to make it. And when I say learn to make it, I mean learn to make it taste so good that you're drooling when you think of it. That your friends are like, hey, do you have any more of that cashew cheese in your fridge? They're calling you up in the middle of the night, asking you for your brownie recipe. Like we're trying through Pachavega, I'm trying to take food that's health building, develop these recipes, created these programs where people learn to make the most delicious, mouth-watering, cilantro pesto, raw pizza, sushi rolls, raw desserts, kimchi, sauerkraut, shiitake pho, mushroom soup, and making this food so exciting and so delicious that you want to eat it. You get excited to get into the kitchen. And then when you're eating it, you start to feel the physical effects of the food. When you start to feel the physical effects from the food, you become unstoppable. This is where you can have the energy to make your dreams come true. This is where you can have the patience because eating healthy food actually gives you patience. How does that work? Because when you're fueling your cells, when you're giving your cells everything that they need to function in the most optimal level, then you can reach your optimal level. And it's easier said than done, right? We're talking about it here. We're not actually eating the food. So I'm saying, I invite the people to start to eat the food, to learn how to make it tasty, to be excited to get into your kitchen, to make it something that you look forward to doing. Then you start to eat it. And then the second step is then we're looking at the rest of your life, right? How are you sleeping? What are your community ties like? What are your relationships like? How are your emotions? Are you super quick to react? Are you, a mess in some aspects of your life? Um, do you are you getting out there? Are you spending time in nature? Are you putting your feet in the ground? Are you exercising your body? So first it's the food, and then we can explore the rest of life. And that's what I do through my businesses. I
Yeah.
take people on journeys. I create structure. I take people on journeys depending on where you are at your life. This is the journey you can enter, and it's within the structural frame, within the curriculum, within the program, and then, the books, like 400-page textbook that accompanies my raw food training, or the, 100-page 21-day get reset. That's like a beautiful book that has all kinds of tips, tricks, prep hacks, grocery list, all that kind of stuff. So it goes from really simple, basic, like do this menu plan, follow this stuff, eat this way, prep this way, eat the food. Then let's talk about how you feel.
Beautiful. It
Mm,
seems to me that food has a lot to do with um, when you were talking about having patience and feeling grounded and being able to go out and walk in nature, you need a certain amount of um, calmness to be able
mm,
to do that, right? And so settling the central nervous system, food is very important for that, right? So this
yeah.
is part of the foundation.
I love that you said that because I think like it can either be a focus on the nervous system, or it can be forgotten. And I feel like the nervous system and, giving our nervous system, allowing it to feel safe is one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves in this day and age. It's actually more even foundational than food. I would say it's the foundation of the foundation.
Right.
Um, right.
But
But it's also, yeah,
food can help
exactly.
sustain that
Be-
foundation, right?
exactly. Yeah. So, but nervous system safety is a big part of the work that I do as well. Although it's not named out loud and like promoted as such, it's woven into every aspect of what I do because essentially that is what we're trying to do is we're trying to trust ourselves. So trust ourselves by showing up for ourselves and then showing us that when we show up for ourselves, we're safe. And then within that, we can make changes that are sustainable, right? When we feel safe, when our nervous system feels safe, when we feel seen, when we feel that we can actually take a step and feel supported, then we can make those changes that are potentially very scary, especially if you're doing something, changing something that you've always done. Um, and it's more than just human. It's animal. It's an animal instinct to feel safe. And it can our nervous system safety or lack thereof can override our own even like mental processes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know why I don't. Well, it's because you're thinking about it. That's why you don't know why. Feel, feel why.
Your body will
Mhm.
tell you so many more things than your brain.
Oh yeah, it's the original authority. The body's the
Yeah,
original authority.
exactly.
Yeah.
So who are your programs for? Are you, I think you're working with potential chefs and things like that, as well as just people wanting to heal certain.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways, and I feel, or all kinds of people, and all kinds of ways in which to like share the language in which I use to, connect to certain people. Um, the thing is, the body of work that I'm working with is so profound that it does actually it has the ability to speak to a lot of different people. What the common theme is that these people are ready to do the work themselves. That I'm not like the guru or the savior. I can show you, but you have to do the work. And so that's really the common theme. But it can be like a chef who's never really worked with raw vegan food that wants to have some new recipes and learn like how to work with food in a raw sense. So like can't conceive the idea that you can't cook anything. Like, okay, here I am to open your mind. I have 180 recipes in the Raw Food Chef Certificate program. So this is not just salad. This is like we run the gamut of all possible. It's for people who want to create a profession, so to become a raw food chef, or even a nutrition or raw food coach. And then I also do coaching for people who want to create a holistic wellness business. So it's like all the kinds of behind the scenes, helping people brand themselves. Like, what is their vision, their mission? What are the colors? What is the logo? What are these things trying to, helping people find their gift so that they can share those gifts. So I'm also really good at spotting patterns, in people. So like when I have coaching clients for a long time, I can see these patterns that start to come up. So I'm helping shine the light on their patterns so that they can change those patterns. Um, yeah, and so who is the work for? It's for, the single mom who wants to make better food for their child. It's for the nutritionist who knows all about nutrition but has zero chef training and has no idea how to make the food tasty. Even though they know what to eat, they just don't know how to make it tasty.
Yeah.
The training is for like a lot of women that have come through my training have been, empty nesters who have just decided like their whole life they've put their children first, their family first, their husband first, and they're finally ready to like step into something that they want to do for themselves. I have people come through my program who have illnesses that don't want to try anything traditional but want to do it the natural way, and so they're exploring diet as a way to heal the body. Um, yeah, and so it's that vast. What I will say also is the majority are women. I do have some men, and I currently have a man in my ecosystem that's really like he's really in it. He took the Raw Food Chef certificate. He's taking my holistic healing code program at the moment, and he's coming to the Living the Lifestyle retreat, which I'm hosting here in Nicaragua in November. And so he's like committed because like it's a great example because I feel like these are the people that my work makes the most impact. It's when they do the work. I mean, I've been a curriculum developer and a teacher for almost 30 years. Since I was right out of high school, I went into the education program. So I've been studying curriculum forever, and I love doing it, and I love creating programs. But the ones that I feel that have the most results are the ones that are actually doing what I'm asking. And I know that seems funny, but like a lot of people sign up to programs and they don't do the program. They sign up for the program and they read it and they they watch videos, but they don't actually make the food and eat it. And then so it's like they're not actually finding
Don't get the
the power.
results.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so when I see the people actually doing it and actually committing to the process, the results are amazing. It's like for me a dream come true because the perfect student. They're following, and then it's also it shows me that what I'm doing is working, right? Because they're doing it, they're following it, they're eating it, and they're having the results. And then I'm like, yes, like I knew it. Like I always knew it. And see, it works. It worked in me. It worked in them, and I'm sticking to it, you know?
Good stuff. So,
Yeah.
did you grow up in a vegan household? Is it vegan or vegan?
Vegan. I
Okay,
don't think it matters.
it
I think
doesn't
you can
matter.
eat
Okay,
either
good.
way. No.
Um,
Um, no.
okay.
No, definitely not. My parents were very health conscious, and we didn't have a lot of garbage food, although there was what I would consider not healthy food around, but it was a little bit more conscious than maybe average. I don't know. It's hard to know, right? Because I
Yeah,
just grew up in it. But we did have boxed Kraft dinner. We did have Campbell's soups from the
and a bag of
can
chips here and
and a
there.
bag of chips. But my mom also made homemade meals. She also made a lot of homemade meals, and she was someone that like followed recipes. She has like the classic recipes, and so she would make the same kind of recipe. Like so, we would have enchiladas, and we would have you know. So there was this awareness around cooking and homemade food as well as the garden. My dad right now, he's also very proud of his garden. He has like a lot of heirloom tomatoes growing, and he puts a lot of effort into his garden now that he's retired. It's one of his joys of life besides golfing. And so there's the awareness of the food that nourishes us comes from the earth and to take care of the earth. And so there's that awareness. But my parents, I love them so much, but there's a bit of a disconnect with them because they're not healthy. And it is because I see them the way they eat. And it's not everything they eat, it's some of what they eat. The sum of what they eat is the problem. Because they're eating so well in some areas, like their homegrown tomatoes, but then they do these other things, like smashing fish and chips at 11 p.m. and then going to
Mm.
bed. And it's like, these, like, it's, yeah.
It's a
But then
lifestyle thing as well.
and I mean, I'm not a therapist and I'm not a trauma-informed therapist, but if we go deep, 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 a lot of these practices and things that the way people are eating emotionally is related to trauma. It's related to conditioning. It's related to the stories that we've told ourselves. It's related to what other people have told ourselves. The way we try to control through food. So that can either be restricting ourselves from food until we deserve it, the relationship we have with food, right? And so also part of my programs and my desire in the world is to help people repair their relationship with food so that it's such a healthy, positive, fun thing that we call it 80/20. 80% do it like this, do it the best, and then 20% let it go, whatever. But don't 20/80 it. You know, that's the that's the thing we don't want to do. This is my parents. They're 20/80ing it. They're doing 20% great and they're 80% not so great. And
Right.
so what's happening is the consistency long term is what it holds it up, right? And so it's not that we have to eat vegan 100% of the time, all the time, and perfectly. And I should make a distinction too, because vegan food can be very unhealthy, very processed, very oily, very gross. And so what I'm talking about is whole food, plant-based, as close to the natural state as possible, with the consciousness of how it was grown, the whole process from the seed to the plate. This is what I'm interested in. And also the impact that my choice has on the planet at large. So if I'm paying extra money for this thing because that makes that business thrive a little bit more, the business that I'm aligned with, then I'm going to do that versus the cheaper option, which is not so good for my body, but might save a couple dollars in my pocket. The thing is, too, people, and I've heard the phrase, it's spend a couple dollars now, or save a couple dollars now and spend it on your health later, right? So
Yeah.
it's like if we yeah, it what is it? Yeah, it's going to be much more expensive in the future to pay
Exactly.
for healthcare than to pay for the healthy food now and to
Yeah.
sustain yourself throughout the years. Yeah.
Yeah, a relationship with food can be very complicated. Even it's not just eating it, it's going to the store and buying it and your mindset, like you were just saying, um, oh, I don't want to buy the organic. I'm not buying the organic today. Forget it, because I'm on a budget today. But I don't know, it's probably not a good idea to do that. Um, but I guess you can like you said, 80/20.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be 100% all the time. And you don't want people to feel like, they can't stray from their
Yeah. Yeah, we're
vegan.
human. I know
Yeah.
we're human. We do things, we do weird things sometimes. We, make dumb choices sometimes. And like,
It's
that's
okay.
okay, right? That's okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
I tell my daughter, it's like, oh, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. We
Yep.
learn by making mistakes,
Exactly. Fail up.
you know. Fail up. Yeah, but then it's there, okay, then there's this awareness of how can we how can our failures become less and less and less, and the consistency of the choices supporting us more and more and more. So, yeah, making choices that are going to support us long term versus become a detriment over time.
Exactly. Exactly. So, do you have gardens around where you get your food from for the classes
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah, so right now we're in like the thick of the dry season. I'll show you, but everything's very, very dry.
You're
So
in,
it
just
doesn't,
to clarify, you're in Nicaragua right now. You're
yeah,
on
yeah,
Ometepe Island, which
yeah,
is
in Nicaragua. So
beautiful
right now
too.
it's, yeah, it's dry season. So it doesn't, like, unless we're watering, it doesn't rain for 3, 4, 5 months. And so things dry and can even die. It's a very interesting cycle, this life death cycle. So as soon as the rain comes, it becomes a tropical rainforest. And then right now it's like, dry, like everything's dry, brown. Um, so do I have gardens? This is also part of the long-term vision of what I'm building is, well, I need a gardener. Honestly, I'll say that I need a full-time, dedicated gardener.
Posting a job
Because
app here, job
yeah, yeah,
opportunity here for somebody.
right. Yeah, I feel like my project and everything that I'm doing, it's like everything in its time because the gardens need to be there, but I need to build the infrastructure first.
Mhm.
So in my own house, I have all kinds of things in my garden. I have tulsi growing, I have Juani Lama, I have lots of herbs, oregano, rosemary, tons of lemongrass. I have fruit trees. I just harvested the lemons off my first tree that I planted when I bought my land 3 years ago. So there was like over 100 lemons that came off that tree, and now there's none, and there's not going to be any probably till next year. So it's also working with the seasons. So when things are in season, like how can we, use them, utilize them? Turmeric, for example, same thing. Like the turmeric has all died, but all the roots are under the ground. So now it's time to harvest the roots. And then what do you do with that root? Do you blend it? And like what I do is I'll blend it with some black pepper and I'll make it into little cubes to get in my freezer. So then throughout the year I can just throw one of those cubes in my smoothies.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then there's a local CSA, so they're doing big things. In fact, I just gave them my lifetime membership. They offered a lifetime membership. I said I will sign up and I will join the lifetime membership. So I just did that before we got on the
What is
call.
the
Um,
CSA? What is that?
the local organic community organic association. So
Okay.
they're growing all organically, and so every week we have a huge list of things that we can order. And I told her yesterday that I would love, to offer my land as a part of, the production. So I was like, you guys need land, come to my land. You can do your thing here, and we can have some sort of,
Beautiful
um,
partnership.
yeah,
That could be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And also teaching the local people, like teaching local people why, why don't we want to eat those chemicals? Why don't we want to, why do we want to not eat that way? And yeah, how can we inspire? How can I inspire people to make changes that, um, yeah, that they want to make,
Mhm.
versus trying to pressure or push. I've never been like that, pressuring and pushing. I've always tried to offer with curiosity and then open invitations, right? So like, here it is. If you're interested, here's all about. This is what it's about. This is what it's about. You're interested. You want to, and if they're like, nah, I'm like, okay, well, it's not for you then. Um, yeah, and I
But
feel like the
once they
right
get the
people
hang of
come.
it, once they get the hang of it, then they want to do it, right?
Oh yeah, well, especially when they learn that they make more money by selling organic produce.
For sure,
Right?
for sure.
Hmm.
So but if I, if I came to take your class and then I come home, uh, do I have to have a garden in my yard to be able to have this lifestyle?
Question. No, absolutely not. I tell people you can even grow, like, even if you're living in a little apartment, you can grow sprouts. You can grow your own herbs. Yeah, and it's more about distinction too. It's like, okay, maybe you're not buying the organic, but maybe you're buying the locally farmed, unsprayed version, right? And so there's always decisions to be made that can be like, for me, it's what decision is the better decision right now in this moment for me. And through my work, I introduce a lot of like ancient wisdom and like tools that have been used all over the place. And one of them is the Four Agreements, which is a book written by Don Miguel Ruiz. And one of them is always one of the agreements of the four is always do your best. And always doing your best looks different every day. And so if we apply that to this lifestyle, it's the same thing. It's like one day my best might be 100% organic, 100% raw. Like I made juices in the morning, I made sauces in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm on it. But another day, my best might be something else, something
Yeah, yeah,
completely else. Something might be like going out for a smoothie or something, or yeah, who knows, right? But
yeah.
the idea is, I think you touched upon it too at some point. It's like it's having compassion for yourself. Um, and the way that you speak to yourself. So that's another thing. And we're talking about these four agreements being impeccable with your word. So it's like even how you speak to yourself, like, oh, I'm so dumb. Have you ever said that to yourself? Stop, stop. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's not what we want to do. But how do we, if it's a habit and if we have said that to ourselves before, or like, oh, I'm so dumb, how do we get out of that habit? Being impeccable with our words, speaking with truth, with love, with kindness. And a lot of times that requires a pause. I'm just talking with my students. I have different like coaching groups and different programs happening right now. And a big theme for April for us is restoration. And we're talking about this like idea of pausing. It's like the awareness becomes the moment of pausing before the reaction, which then allows us to respond and make a choice. And so when there's more awareness, there's more choice. And what is awareness, but really just present moment awareness, right? Because when we're not aware, we're typically thinking of other things. We're like doing something automatically, like grocery shopping, or doing an automatic autopilot thing that our body is doing, but our mind is over there. I got to go do
Exactly.
this thing and this thing. I'm like riding a bike and I'm riding a bike and I'm not like there's a bump and there's a tree and there's a thing and hi neighbor. I'm riding a bike and I'm okay, tomorrow I got to do this and that, right? So the awareness is matching the present moment with the actions of what your body's doing. And then through that, we're able to, yeah, take pauses. Take pauses when it matters
Exactly.
to
I
make
love
to make
that.
better choices. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that point because it reminds me of sort of being in the grocery store and not paying attention to what you're doing. And, like I was saying before, oh, here's the organic one. Well, I know I'm stupid. I should be doing that one. I should be getting that one, but I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get the other one. And then you forget all about that. Right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
these tiny decisions that we make when we're at the store buying stuff to begin with, um, it would be so much better if we could do them in more intentionally and
Mm.
with more just
Compassion,
awareness. Yeah.
awareness, compassion, and not to create a big story around it.
Hmm.
And I think that's also something that I'm good at, but I'm also trying to like impart to my students is like don't make a big like how do we say this in a way that I'm honoring the other person's process, right? But it's like don't make a big story about it. Don't continue to make it like this. Um, yeah, I don't. I think this is part of my philosophy that I'm still finding words for. Of like, because when people always ask me like, how do you do it, Danielle? How do you do it? How do you do all that you're doing? You're so inspirational. You're
That's a
doing all this
good
stuff. I'm like, I don't
question
know.
because you do a lot.
I just do it.
You have
It's
an
because I
incredible,
don't waste time. I don't waste time on thinking about what it could be, would be, should be. I just do it. Like I'm gonna build a retreat center. I'm not gonna think about, oh well, who am I to build a big retreat center? Because then I'm creating a big story and that's exhausting. I'm just gonna do it. And yes, I will come up with my own obstacles and things in which might lead me astray or might make it an emotional process. But at the end of the day, um, I'm trying to flow. I'm trying not to hang on too tightly to things that have happened. I'm trying to learn from my mistakes or even just the things that have happened, whether that be positive experiences or negative experiences or just supportive or unsupportive experiences. And then, so as to not repeat them, to learn, to grow, to evolve, and then to keep moving on. And not repeating the same story, repeating the same story. I am guilty as charged, right? Like this is also part of my awareness and my growth and my spiritual, let's say, awakening. Because I think a spiritual awakening implies that now you're better, or not better, but like it's like, oh, I'm awakening. You're not, no. But so I won't say awakening, but a spiritual evolution, for me is
yeah.
stopping myself from telling the stories that aren't serving anybody except for my, um, you know, uh, damaged ego or the victim self of me. I don't, and I don't need this. It's not supportive. But I have to practice. I have to practice
Yeah, we
myself.
all do.
Mhm.
I have to ask, is everything raw or do you cook some stuff?
I cook food. Yeah, I eat cooked food. When I first started my business, I started it with the intention of like only living foods, and not even just raw, but like living foods, like alive, because raw almonds versus like activated alive almonds are a different thing.
Oh,
This is also part of what I teach in like I teach these kinds of things like breaking myths, and we really dive into the science of nutrition and the science of nutrition now. And so it's not like I'm repeating stuff that was in the 80s correct and now they've debunked it. And so it's like my curriculum is always like changing with the times. I'm always paying attention to the new science of today. Um, yeah. And again, 80/20, right? So we're not saying 100% raw food all the time because, well, then what about beans? Actually, beans are quite good for you. So for me, I would say I eat probably a 50% raw food diet and 50% vegan cooked diet. But I would say for me, I always tell my students to decide your line, like you draw the line in the sand where you are okay with not crossing or you are okay with crossing. And for me, it's animal foods. Like I don't eat any animal foods, except for honey. So I will eat honey, but it's usually local honey it's from my neighbors here in Nicaragua, the bees that were right there. Um, and so, if people can call me a hypocrite, well, it doesn't bother me at all because I feel very aligned with all the choices that I made with my food. And another thing is I don't eat like junk food. I don't drink Coca-Cola. I don't drink like soda pops. I don't drink sugary drinks like at all, at all. I can't even tell you the last time I had a Coca-Cola. Like I barely even remember the flavor of it. Probably 15 years. I don't know, maybe longer. Um,
this is not something that
yeah,
you'd be interested in at this
it's
point.
just not in
It's
my,
not like you're stopping yourself or
no,
limiting yourself.
water.
You don't want it.
No, I would just go for water. It's
Yeah,
like that's not even an option for me. It's like, do you want some gasoline? No, thanks. I'm
exactly.
good. Or just Yeah, what else? Even like they have these things called tostones here or tajadas, which are basically like deep fried plantains. Some are in like long, skinny, deep fried like chips, and some of them are like smushed. And like even those, like I don't eat those because I don't like to eat the this like kind of like deep fried multiple times reds and seed oils. I stay away from that. I stay away from refined sugar. But everyone else kind of has their own thing. And again, I try not to make a story about it. I don't have a story about it. I'm not like, oh, well, I don't eat this. And I just don't. So I don't even have to talk about it because I just don't do it. So if I need to explain it to someone else because they're curious, or if we're traveling, or if we're at a restaurant, then okay, and maybe an explanation is warranted because then, but yeah, I just try just to be chill about it. A dear friend of mine, Julia Murray. Actually, if you're looking for someone else to invite on the podcast, Julia Murray. She's a Canadian Olympian, a vegan nutritionist. She's an incredible woman. She's a partner of mine. We do retreats together, and she's all about being a chill vegan. So she wrote this like the holiday guide to being a chill vegan, and I really resonate with that because it is. This is what we are trying to come across of like we're chill. It's good, We don't want to become across as yeah. This is not to be preached.
Uptight.
This is not no,
Mm.
not to be uptight. It's not to be. We're not judging. I mean, I'm not certainly not judging other people because I also used to eat meat once upon a time. I mean, I haven't eaten meat for 20 years. I've been vegan t almost 21 years, but I wasn't 21 years ago, and so who was, and I was still me. So who am I to judge anybody? Plus, we're all in a process, and I'm also not perfect. So it's like everyone. This is where the compassion comes in. It's like having compassion for everybody's journey. And then I'm also not someone who will get into an argument or debate with someone else because, unless it's within my scope of expertise and they want to hear it as from that lens. But I'm not about to try to like defend and argue and
You're not there to convince somebody.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. And people end
It's
up coming to
it's
me anyways,
it's
naturally, because they
education.
just see. They're like, wow, like, how did you do that? Well, food, you know. And they're like, wow, you look so good for your age. Like, it's the
Yeah, you
food.
look 12.
Really? Hopefully not 12. But yeah, no, I mean, that's like, yeah, I'll be 45 this year.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Well,
yeah,
good
and
for you.
I'm running up and down volcanoes. I'm running ultra marathons. Like, my body feels amazing. I recover very quickly. I did 2,400 meters elevation up and down 3 days ago, and I feel fine now,
Wow.
and so this is the goal. This is actually the goal is to feel good in my body as I get older. And it's not about being perfect. It's about 80% consistency and and yeah, just keeping showing up for myself. When I show up for myself and I walk the talk myself, then I'll automatically inspire people. If I try to inspire people, that usually doesn't work.
Right. Just do it automatically.
Yeah,
Is there
just
something
do it.
about the environment that you're in, that it's at the Central America sort of area, that what attracts you particularly about that's
Yeah.
the type
Yeah.
of food that's available?
No, not so much. Well, first, I feel like like I need warm. I need
Mm.
warmth. I always like I grew up in Canada, and my whole life, the cold always bothered me, like so much, like very obviously more than others. When I was cold, everyone would look at me like it's warm. I'm like, but I'm freezing, and this is a theme of my whole life. And so finally coming here is just like. It's just a place where I can relax. My body actually feels good here in Canada. I just seize up tight because I'm cold, so I'm just like protecting, the cold, and my body doesn't work properly. Um, so that was the original, and then I've been speaking Spanish for almost 20 years as well. And so knowing the language and understanding the culture, like the Latin culture, even though Nicaragua's different, I learned mostly my Spanish in Mexico. Um, but also being a little bit connected to the Latin culture, having like a bit of an affinity towards just the way that people are here. And then the community here, specifically on Ometepe Island, is very beautiful. I'm working on another new project that I don't know if it'll actually go anywhere. So it's a organic, 100% organic cotton clothing company. And then I also have another cotton blend that blends with tencel, but it's like a eco-friendly process. So I'm creating these clothes, but I don't know if I'll ever sell them. I'm maybe just they'll stay here in Ometepe. But through that process, I invited some people. Like I just wanted like a small little cohort of like my closest friends to come try on the clothes and comment. And the list is 26 people.
Oh my
And
gosh.
these are my best friends. Like I can't take one of them off. Maybe there's like three people that are newer of my friends that maybe, aren't so close, but when I looked at them, I was like, I want you to come to my house. So there's 26 people of my dear friends that I couldn't choose to take, I couldn't boil it down to five or six or it's like it's 26 and that's it. And so this is a big realization of why am I here? Because I have this beautiful support system with all my friends, cheering me on and me cheering them on with their projects, supporting each other in, again, where, it's like trying to reach this ideal of like what can life be and like how good can it really get and how can we support each other through it all? Mhm.
That is a beautiful philosophy. It's just so unlimiting. It's very freeing. How good can it get? Let's go to the limit, find out.
Versus the other, which a lot of people are into, how worse could it get, Like, what's
Yes.
the worst? What's the worst that could
What's
happen?
the
Like,
worst
let's
that
do
could
it.
happen?
Other way, other way, other way. Go the other way. What's the best that could happen?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
I can feel your passion for this whole lifestyle and philosophy and everything just coming through the Zoom. I really appreciate it. And
Yay.
do you have anything else you want to leave as a message for our audience today?
I think it's like the most important thing is the small little steps. The tiny little small steps. Like big change never happens in like a dramatic way. I mean, sometimes, but very rarely. And it's always these tiny little consistent things. And so here's a tip because I'm going to do it right now after we get off the call. Like I came to this restaurant, I ordered a salad sitting here that I haven't eaten yet. Um, I said, don't, no dressing, but I brought from my house, this little thing. It's got olives, it's got like Calamata olives, nutritional yeast, lemon, cumin, olive oil, and I'm going to add this to my salad. So I take this. Also really great. This cafe does the organic greens. So it's organic greens, arugula, kale. There's tomato, there's cucumber, and it's pretty simple and plain. And now I'm going to add my little flavor bomb,
Great.
to make it delicious. So this is what I'm always telling people too, is like you can make these little condiments or like flavor bombs. You bring them out with you so that, if you're tempted to eat the not so good food, well, maybe you can order that boring thing and make it taste better by your little addition that you brought. Like, here's another thing. My friend, he does vegan gelato. It's like this really delicious coconut ice cream that's sweetened with sugar cane, and it's like the coconut vanilla one is so good. So one day I had a call and I went there and I was thinking about the gelato, but like I can't have gelato for breakfast, but yes I can. How can I have gelato for breakfast? Well, I made a huge thing of oatmeal, plain, no flavor. I mean, maybe there's some cinnamon in vanilla, but zero sweetener, zero. It was just like oats, water, hemp hearts, chia seeds, cinnamon, vanilla. And then I mixed it with the gelato, and it was a creamy, sweetened oatmeal. But there was enough oatmeal that it offset the sweetness of the gelato. There was only this much gelato and there was this much oatmeal, so the addition of the oatmeal didn't make the oatmeal sweet, but it balanced it. It gave it fiber so that sweet, the sugar that's in the gelato is going to actually really slowly, because it's been mixed with the fiber of the oats. It's giving you complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates at the same time. So it's going to provide like a much nicer energy overall. yeah, and so this is all this kind of stuff is woven within my teachings. It's, there's the nutrition advice, there's the pairing, pairing certain foods together to enhance the nutrition, like turmeric and black pepper, greens and dark leafy greens and lemon juice, um, tomatoes with olive oil to uptake more lycopene. So there's all these tips and tricks in the nutrition that I'll weave into my teachings, as well as how to actually make the food. Um, yeah, and so all of this stuff becomes it's
It becomes
yeah,
second nature after a while, right? When
yeah, and
once
it's
you
exciting.
immerse yourself into it, these ideas just come to you. Like, let's put the gelato in the oatmeal.
Yeah,
Let's bring a little olive tapenade for the salad,
yeah,
and it comes naturally, right?
yeah,
It's
and it's because
beautiful.
I also don't want boring food,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Like I want my food to also taste amazing, and just because I choose to eat plant-based, whole foods, it doesn't mean that the food I should eat it should be boring. Maybe out and about it is because people don't understand, and if they put the vegan thing on the menu, it's not because the chef was not vegan and he didn't actually even know what he was doing either. So it's not because you're disappointed because actually the chef is a meat chef and he is trying to make a vegan dish and he's trying his best and it's not so good. So how can we help instead of complain? I'm just going to bring my little addition and have compassion for this guy who doesn't know what he's doing in that regard, in the regard of the vegan chefing. And I'll just add, and again, not make a story about it.
Yeah,
Don't make a story about it.
exactly. Don't make a story of it.
Yeah. Just add my olives. Oh, delicious. It turned out great.
It doesn't have to be boring.
Yeah.
Have your little additions. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here, Danielle. How
Yeah,
can
thank you.
people get hold of you to learn more about your programs?
Yeah, so pachavega.com, Pachavega.com. And through that, there's the online program. So the online school, School of Holistic Wellness. So that can go to the Raw Food Chef Certificate program, which is the most comprehensive program. I do a guided year every year. We're in one right now. And the next one starts in September. So the very beginning of September, September 1st is our first call with the guided year. And it's a full year program, which I love because there's time for integration. There's time to actually eat the food and feel the results. So that's what I love is that to actually see really big transformations in people over that period. But then I also have little short things like the Heal and Ignite Masterclass. It's like a 3 day, like all the tips and tricks, best sauces, best hacks, like all my best work kind of compiled into one. And then there's the 21-day gut reset challenge, which is a beautiful 21-day program that is also really well done. I feel like it's also some of my best work. And there's videos and demos and bonus stuff, and it's like very well held. And then I have in-person courses. So I'm doing a retreat in July in Canada at my parents' house. It's like a really short one. It's almost sold out. It's called Plants Dance Love Retreat. So me and Julia, we're dancing, shuffle dancing, we're eating delicious food, we're drinking cacao, and connecting. And then I have another retreat in November here in Nicaragua called Living the Lifestyle Retreat. So it's really designed for people who have already done my programs who then want to like anchor it into their lives. They've either done my programs and then they've gone off on their own and just like, like I don't know how to make it work. So come back. We're gonna like live the lifestyle. We're gonna, so when you go home, like it's already you're doing it. That's 1 week, and then next year, the reason I'm not doing it this year is because I'm building. But every year I do a 30-day to 5 week holistic raw food chef residency program. So the next one is November 2027 in the new space that I'm building, and it's 5 weeks, 2 weeks on level 1, 1 week off, integration, 2 weeks on level 2. And you come to Nicaragua and you're here for 5 weeks. And yeah, it's the most comprehensive program. So from everything, from also free ebook, it's all about the sauce. You can get that free ebook,
Okay.
and you can come to my 5 week program and all in between.
Oh my gosh, that is
Yeah.
fantastic. What a lineup
Yeah.
of
So
choices
Instagram
for
and
people.
Facebook.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Also Instagram and Facebook, I'm on
Okay.
there. So Pachavega, you can find me there.
Pachavega. We will get that in the description box. Thank you again so much for being here. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for
Okay.
everything that you're doing as well.
Thank you very much. And with that, I'm Bev Young, and I help spiritual and conscious entrepreneurs get more credibility and visibility online with websites they love and that work. See you next time.